It's been widely reported that the government will include amendments to the illegal migration bill that will give the Home Secretary powers to ignore the European Court of Human Rights injunctions. These are the Rule 39 orders on deportations. And this is a clear victory for sovereignty. The European Court of Human Rights is made up of 46 judges, some from very small countries, some with very different political and legal traditions to our own. Indeed, until recently, there was a judge on the council whose name was put forward by one Vladimir Putin, and he was still involved in cases up until September of last year. They're appointed by the Council of Europe, which is a political body, so unlike our system, which is independent of politics, the Council of Europe is the body that does this. It decides which of the three names put forward by any country shall go forward. It's a different approach to law from the one we're used to domestically. It's not part of the common law system. And Rule 39 orders are particularly interesting because the European Court of Human Rights, unlike the Court of Justice of the European Union, does not have and never did have direct effect in the UK. It only has effect if Parliament acts to implement its decisions. And we saw this famously, importantly, with prisoner voting rights. When the prisoner voting rights came through, the decision of the court wasn't immediately implemented. Indeed, a negotiation took place to implement it in a very minimalist way. The Rule 39 approach, however, leapfrogs all of that and decides a case before it has completed its UK processes, and you cannot take a case to the European Court of Human Rights until it's completed the UK processes for final judgment, but you can get an injunction early on that in a way short-circuits the process that ought to be taking place in the UK first before going on to the European Court of Human Rights. And we never agreed to give them to the European Court in the first place. The European Court of Human Rights claimed them, took them, snatched them. Now, this isn't unusual in the development of jurisprudence, that if you look at the US Supreme Court, it's not set out in the Constitution quite what its powers are. Those built up over time as it exercised more and more powers. But we're not in a single state like the United States, and therefore these powers being grasped by a court are not something that we should simply allow to happen without any concern being expressed in return. And therefore we shouldn't feel it's wrong to block or ignore its rulings because, as I said, ECHR rulings do not have direct effect. In our own court system, the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom can only issue a statement of incompatibility. It cannot strike down statute law. And that's really very important because it means that our democracy, Parliament, the High Court of Parliament, is the highest legal body in the land. And so when you go back to June of last year, Boris Johnson had planned to send the inaugural flight of asylum seekers to Rwanda. The 11th hour, a court overseas issued a blocking order against what the British people wanted and what the government had legislated for, Parliament had legislated for. But it also did so secretively. The ECHR won't even disclose the name of the judge who issued the order. There was a rumour, it turns out to be false, that it was the Russian judge, but we've written them to try and find out who it might have been. Who was this secret anonymous judge? And we hope they might let us know by 9 o'clock before we go off air, because secret justice is not proper justice. They should not be able to take our rights away, take rights away from Parliament, without at least us knowing who they are. And in truth, what is the best protection of our human rights? What's the best protection of all our rights? It's democracy, it's Parliament, it's your votes. But of course, I want to know what you at home think, so as always, please get in touch. Email me, mailmog@gbnews.